When I was young, I highly believed in the doctrines that were taught to me. I was brought up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons. I remember what I would call now as faith training, Sunday school sacrament, and as a young adult, what's called priesthood classes. Every Sunday I was at church for 3 hours. Always felt that this was kind of excessive because church can be boring now, if that wasn't enough, but they also have a few times a week like additional activities at the church one could attend. I was an active member until I was 14 years of age. Losing my faith was a painful process. I wanted it desperately, very desperately, to be true. The countless hours I remember praying for some sort of something, anything. You see, this was in the days of the early internet. I had no idea about the controversy over Joseph Smith and his choices and glaringly obvious signs that he was a fraud. See, back then, I didn't need any of this to lose my faith. My prayers went unanswered, as they always had been. And the potential consequence of not believing, of course, is a fate worse than death. Outer darkness, they called it. It's a fate worse than hell. My eternal soul was at stake. I cried many nights before I fell asleep. But then something happened. I started realizing that nothing I had been taught made any logical sense. How is it possible, I thought, all-loving, omnipotent, omniscient creator couldn't make any logical sense? I realized none of it made sense, and infinite punishment for a finite crime, including thought crime, is nonsense. Israelites coming to America, somehow being Native Americans. This obviously doesn't make sense, and none of it did. I haven't made most at times, like I knew that like what I was taught was like obvious nonsense, and DNA has proven that there is no Israelite connection to Native Americans, no archaeological evidence either. None of it makes sense. See, I realized that I had been brainwashed from a young age, and I applied this same logic to all other religions. The New Testament, obviously, being a second-hand account of a second-hand account, it's very hard for me to trust anything any holy book says. Faith is something that is taught, practiced, and you have to train for it to experience whatever subjective experience that ends up happening convinces people that their faith is true. Guess what? They all have subjective experiences. Every single one of them. Because you have to psych yourself into believing them. This is why stuff like hypnosis works. You have to practice it. This is why people believe. And what people don't realize is the mind is a very, very powerful thing. Skepticism and science are the only things that should be trusted because they are the only thing that can be tested and supported by empirical data. Religion cannot meet this criteria, nor can they meet the same burden. So, just want to top this off with saying that I don't know what's out there. This is why I'd put myself more or less in the agnostic realm and, partially atheist realm. But if any of this makes sense to you, just let me know in the comments. Please like and share. Think about subscribing. Thanks.